young.
Oh, we are back. Hit that click track. Boom. It's the 5 on 5 podcast presented to you by directmusicservice.com. FIVEON. FIVE will save you some money over there. Go get some edits. Go get you some new music. We heard what you've been playing. Go get you some new stuff. Y'all need it.
Hey, that shot's fired. I like that.
Hey, we heard that bullshit.
We
Go
heard
get
that
some of this
bullshit.
cool
You need to holler
shit.
at it.
Yeah, a little of this, a little of that.
When you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe and ding the bell to be notified every time we drop a video. Because we know what you've been watching
easy.
too.
We know what you've been watching. We're gonna get right into it. I'm one of your hosts, Phenom, down the street from me, Nick Lopez, down the street from him, Jupiter Williams, and a very special guest today. I posted on Twitter. This is a bucket list guest. I've wanted this guy on here since we started this fucking show. He's got stories for days. I've heard him tell stories for days on other podcasts, and I was like, we gotta have Mike B on the pod. Make some noise.
Boom, 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 boom.
What's up, everybody?
I don't have goat noises. I would make goat noises right now. But
yeah,
Nice.
it's out there.
Goat noises.
The Mike B. How are you doing, man?
It's good. It's good to meet everybody. How you guys doing?
Man.
Nice to
meet
meet you, man.
bro.
Thank you for being here, man.
Good, man.
What's happening?
Well, a lot.
Well, hold on, Colin. Hold on.
Okay.
Before you get started, Colin, I get an email from Dickie Greenleaf.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the hell is Dickie Greenleaf saying that he's joining our Zoom right now? Then the name
you mean
changed.
you mean earlier?
Yeah.
I was testing microphones.
Perfect.
Because I haven't done an at-home podcast in a while, so I wanted to make sure it was all functional.
Fair enough. Well, that email was functional because that email came through. I'm like, wait, pause, but wait.
No, man, this is fucking great. I've wanted to have you on the podcast for a minute. We have a lot to talk about today. I want to talk about some newer stuff, a little bit in between. Mike, what we do every week, we're just going to get right into it. We compare two artists head to head, their top 5 songs on Spotify. So it's going to get weird. You're going to go 5 rounds.
Yeah, I saw that looking at the titles. There was a lot of competitions that I was having a hard time wrapping my head around.
Yeah, well, we're going to put you on one today. We're going to go 5 rounds, 1 song from each artist, and you pick a this or that. Today's artists, it's a common matchup. You hear it time and time again. Everyone always says, who's better, Nas or Bob Dylan?
Yes.
And that's what we're going to go with.
Yes.
We're getting into it right away.
Yes. Why haven't we done this yet?
Round
2 great
one.
storytellers.
2 great storytellers. Some of the best, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
With New York ties as well. Round 1, Nas, New York State of Mind, or Bob Dylan, Knocking on Heaven's Door. Which way you going, Mike?
Which one is what?
Which one stays? Which one goes?
To where? To what?
Well, you can only keep one
pick
of
what
them.
you pick. Which one you like? Which
like,
one
like,
wins?
which one do
like
you like
for the
between
rest
the
of my
two?
life, which one am I gonna keep?
Boom.
Yes.
Okay. Wait. What is it? Nas what?
NY State of Mind or Bob Dylan, Knocking on Heaven's Door?
Oh, I'll take New York State of Mind.
Okay. Round 2, If I Ruled the World.
No explanation needed.
None needed. Feel free to give as little or as much as you want in defense of that. I think there's no wrong answer here. Round 2, Nas, If I Ruled the World, or Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone.
I don't really need to hear either of those songs probably ever again in the rest of my life. So I'm good on both, honestly.
They both go.
I guess I'll take I've heard Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone. I don't know. They're both so tired. I'll take the Bob Dylan one, I guess. So I have now, so far, I'm taking with me 1 Bob Dylan and 1 Nas song.
Yep.
Okay. Fair.
I'll be like, in my personal life, I never listen to either of these people.
Sure.
That's what's even better.
I mean, I listen to Nas sometimes and Bob Dylan rarely.
Yeah. I kind of figured as much. Round 3, The World Is Yours or Blowing in the Wind?
I'll take The World Is Yours.
Okay. Round 4, It Ain't Hard to Tell or The Times They Are A-Changin'?
It ain't hard to tell. I would mostly rather listen to Nas than Bob Dylan.
I can't imagine anybody would disagree. I'm so confused by this thing.
I love it.
I would mostly rather listen to Nas than Bob Dylan. But I would also like, it's like they're mostly songs from Illmatic too.
Right.
And I don't even top 5. It's like, yeah, let's ask. DJ.
Oh yeah, so it's from their top 5.
It's
Spotify?
the top 5 songs on Spotify. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
This matchup seems so unfair.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Nas's best versus Bob Dylan's best is fucking a landslide.
Round 5, gentlemen. It's not about the matchup today. We have so much fucking history to talk about.
100%.
We're just trying to knock this out.
But I love a matchup. I love a good matchup. I'm
throwing you a softball here to lead it off.
Truly.
Nas is Like or Bob Dylan Hurricane?
See, now that's a better matchup. Those are two songs that I legitimately like.
Okay.
And that I'm not super tired of. Nas is Like his all time, but so is the Hurricane.
Yeah.
It's a tougher choice. Probably the Hurricane because I've heard it less in my life so far.
Bob gets one.
Bob gets 2. That's the second one.
Oh, that's the second one. Yes, my bad.
So 3 Nas, 2 Bob, and nobody wins.
Yeah.
And nobody wins.
Yeah. All losers.
Everyone loses. Everyone who listened to this.
It was close. It was close. Lightning round, you're going to keep one, and the other is gone forever. If you go to pull that artist off the shelf, it's just an Air 404. We got nothing for that artist. Starting with who stays, 50 Cent or Ja Rule?
Wait, what?
Which artist are you going to keep, and which artist do you get?
That's a fairly obvious question. Does anybody keep Ja Rule in this instance?
I mean,
so far it's only been 1 week of him. So
okay,
Billy McFarland might.
Yeah, I mean, 50 Cent for sure.
Okay.
Just because Ja Rule is, so annoying.
Fair. Fucking fair.
Have you met
He's got his moments, but it's who sits around listening to Ja Rule.
Overall, we're good.
Have you met Ja?
Have I met Ja? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe. I mean, it's not like
yeah.
I don't think we've had a meaningful conversation.
I love a maybe meeting Ja Rule.
Exactly.
Nice.
Hey, Mike, this is Ja Rule.
I'm an elderly person at this point. No, it wouldn't have been like that. If I had met Ja Rule, I would have been much younger when I was around that. When I would have been in a place to meet Ja Rule, it would have been, in the dark at night, in New York. Pause, and it would have been, it would have been something that I've been in the same room as Ja Rule, but no, I never had it. Nothing more than maybe waving at Ja Rule.
Hey,
I have no personal issue with Ja Rule at all.
Of course.
God bless him.
It's fine. He most likely won't be listening.
We'll put a little note.
I lived in New York in 2002, so there's no you have to take 50's side on this
for sure.
Because that's just how it is.
Yeah, 50 was an animal.
Let's do this. Project Pat or Trick Daddy?
Ooh.
Why are we doing this?
This is
the lightning round.
I have spent a lot of my life trying to explain to my friends that things do not have to be versus each other, and I feel like I've been really put into a position to answer questions that don't need answering, but I'll answer them.
Good.
Is there a tie allowed? No, I have to. It's like a full Soapy's choice.
So if you take a tie, they both go from existence.
Yeah.
In this hypothetical scenario.
Oh, well then I'm good on 50 Cent and Ja Rule, frankly. They can tie.
Oh, that's the rules. We're gonna
Nas and
double
Bob
back.
Dylan
Get rid of
can
both of
tie.
them.
Easy
Yeah,
tie.
I don't
Ties
need any
across
of these
the board.
people. What was the last? I mean, I love Trick Daddy so much, but I'd much rather listen like upon waking up. I'd rather hear Project Pat.
Fair.
Hell yeah.
Gorillas or Blur?
Blur.
Okay, fair. Duck Sauce or Chromeo?
It's a hard one to answer. What are we doing with them? What just one is just getting thrown away?
You're picking who stays.
Who stays? Ay. Well, I'll take Chromeo, but only because then, I feel like A-Track and Armand can exist on their own.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's fine. And I
We're
love
doing Duck Sauce.
I love Duck Sauce. I have a lot of love for Duck Sauce. It's not me.
No, that's fair.
Not me dissing Duck Sauce in any way.
No,
you're all good.
It's not meant to feel good. This isn't the lightning round.
Tell people that all the time.
You've gone your whole life avoiding picking one or the other.
Yeah.
And tonight,
no, it's had to be done.
Beat Nuts or Alcoholics?
Now you're putting me on the spot. You're right. You started me off easy with Bob Dylan and Nuts. Beat Nuts and Alcoholics is tough because they're very much coastal representations of each other. I feel, you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
And let's not forget that they came together for one super group called the Lick Nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I love the Beat Nuts so much. And on the other hand, I love the Alcoholics so much. So I'm gonna take the Beat Nuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
No wrong answers here. That's fine.
That I know. There's also no right answers.
There's no right answers either. Doors or Nirvana?
Like I feel like I lost when I had to make that decision.
That's fair. Doors or Nirvana? You feel either way?
Oh, the Doors from Los Angeles, California.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Nirvana.
Let's go with Ashanti or Sierra.
Sierra.
Okay. Method Man or Redman?
Redman.
I love the G Unit affiliation still.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Come on.
Sierra, motherfucker.
Get serious. Well, also just, I mean, let's talk, like, forget about, G Unit stuff. It's just talent. Like Sierra's put out music like last week. That's amazing.
Still, yeah.
You're right.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And Ashanti is like, I don't know. She's got hits. She's got some stuff I would play, but
yeah, I hear you.
I never cared about what Ashanti was doing.
Beastie Boys or Run DMC?
Well,
starting off with a well is exactly what I'm looking for here.
Beastie Boys.
Okay.
Beastie Boys. Because
Steely Dan or Gangstar?
The fuck does that even mean? Steely Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Clips or Mob Deep?
What the fuck?
Mobb Deep.
Mobb Deep. Okay. There's two more in here. Let's go with Mariah or Whitney.
Mariah.
Okay. Prince or Michael?
Michael.
Okay. And then last but not least, Outkast or Hall & Oates?
Outkast.
Okay. That's the lightning round.
Congratulations, you survived.
That was like that was some kind of round.
Those are all of our past episodes.
Yeah, that's all previous episodes.
Oh, those have all been done already?
Yeah.
In the full.
So they're not like you. There's no right or wrong answers.
So the top
there's
five
no winners.
that the beginning hadn't been done yet.
the top 5 happens for every episode.
Okay,
So
got it.
all those matchups were previous top 5.
Right.
Wonderful.
Bob Dylan and Nas was never been done before.
See, I
and
feel like
that
I
will-
only listened to the most of the DJ Chucky episode. Did he do this?
Yeah.
He did. Okay, I missed it then.
Yeah.
Very
I was,
quick.
I was skipping around. All right.
We gave A-Track Duck Sauce versus Chromeo. That was an interesting one. For
Yeah.
me.
What'd he say?
He went Chromeo every time.
He went Chromeo. Yeah.
He's too humble for his own good.
Very humble.
Yeah.
What did I take? I took Chromeo.
You took
Chromeo.
You took
Chromeo.
Chromeo.
You got
because
the
boys
solo
could live on their
projects.
own.
Then I answered right.
Yeah. That's the right answer.
There we go.
Dude, I have so many questions to ask you today, and it's going to be a lot of history stuff. Obviously, everybody listens to our podcast. Most of the people, I'd say 90%, started DJing around blog era or after. So it's going to be kind of blog influence today. I just want to start off by asking, what was DJ Premier's reaction being at Banana Split?
He was visibly uncomfortable, as is sort of documented in those pictures.
Yeah.
And in that scenario, because he was like a middle-aged, like larger black man wearing like a big black t-shirt and big black jeans and standing by a velvet rope in the middle of the room, people assumed that he was the security guard for the DJ booth.
Yeah.
And so people were just kind of walking up to him and asking if they could like come in or out. And then he sort of like assumed the job, as I recall. I mean, don't quote me on this because it's like, I mean, this is like 15 years ago now. But he just was like, all right, like he kind of like looked like he wanted something to do and he wasn't like super happy where he was standing. Because you got to realize we didn't have, the DJ booth was accessible to the whole room. So particularly, I remember that night that Premier was there, it was like the 1 year or 2 year anniversary, and we had moved it even from back against the wall to where we had it like, I guess what would now be referred to as boiler room style, where we had it like in the middle of the room, which most people didn't do. But it was even a way of just being like more immersive with the DJ booth. And we had also a lot of people playing that night, so we had kind of a double setup. And I remember Premier came there, and there's pictures of it, and you can see it. In most pictures, he's got like his mouth closed and his eyes like wide open, like he's like he looks like shocked, kind of like by where. Because I just think he was like not. Usually, you get brought in and put at a table and given somewhere to sit. Like it was just like, here, dude, like stand over here. And he just kind of stood there for a while. Like, and I was, people would come up to him and want to like take pictures and then like go away. But it's like, there wasn't much. I think I don't really know. Like, I don't know how he got there and I don't know how he left there. Like I didn't get to see that. I'd gotten to see that for a lot of other big celebrities that had come through, where I would go outside and get them in and walk them. And but like, I definitely just turned around and like, I was like, oh shit, that's DJ Premier. And then I was like, oh my God, people think he's a security guard. And then I saw him just kind of opening and closing the ropes. And I was like, all right, that's weird, but he seems like, it's nice to have something to do. And then he was just kind of gone, I guess. I'm glad that the pictures exist that have him in it. But other than that, I don't really remember why. I mean, I think he was just there because him and AM were friends,
right?
And so, like, someone brought him there, presumably, and someone got him out of there. I don't know. I mean,
Premier cosplaying as a security guard at Banana Split is like my favorite thing ever.
I think Eli Escobar was there that night too, and he saw this happen, and we were like, I mean, there's pictures you can see in the pictures. He's got like his hand on like the rope.
Yeah.
He's
just wearing like a black. I mean, he was dressed as a security guard. So it was
that is so funny.
Yeah,
I wonder
he never played or anything though. We had Guru.
Okay.
But we never had Premier.
He probably didn't understand what the hell was being played. If it was like
no, he did. He's
like
a very musical guy. He knows what's up for sure.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's not like he knows the names of the genres and stuff, but like I don't think you could really play music that's gonna like shock Premier. Like I think musically he was probably fine. Like he respects. He's like a DJ that knows what's up for sure. Like I've DJ'd with him a lot of other times.
Yeah.
And he was always like responsive to dance music and kind of knows what's up.
That's dope.
That's super.
That was what I was gonna ask. I was like, did you feel like he was maybe too outside of his element and was weirded out? But I think it's more of the accessibility. Do you think was the issue?
Yeah, no, I just think it was just. I think if you put someone in that environment, no matter what their background is, particularly when they're used, I think, to having their ass kissed a little, you get a little uncomfortable, which was always the idea of the DJ booth at Banana Split. Was AM was like, I don't want a bunch of like celebrity bullshit going on in here. Like if Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan and whoever want to come here, they're going to have to be part of what's going on. Like we're not going to have roped off table. So the only reason that we even had a rope that night was because it was just to be, you only want you want to be able to control a little bit what's happening in a DJ booth, especially when it's full of, celebrity DJs and stuff. Because that night, I think we had like Mastercraft and Busy P and DJ Falcon, and there was a lot of people there that night. So there was a lot going on, and like maybe like Sebastian. Like I'm pretty sure that's the night that like the Bloghouse class photo, as they call it, was taken, where we're in the photo booth, and it's like everyone. It's like Crookers and Mastercraft and Justice and like all these people in one picture.
Technically speaking, Premier he is part of the Bloghouse alumni because he has the Sebastian remix.
That's true.
Sure. I mean, that wasn't until that's from 2012.
That's late,
so I would call it, or no, that's like 2011, but it's post Bloghouse.
Yeah.
And it's not Bloghouse. It's but yeah,
it's a hip hop song, but
sure.
It's on a Sebastian album.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, we all love DJ Premier.
Oh, absolutely. When you saw these acts there, when you were playing alongside these acts, I know Lady Gaga was considered a payola performance, as I've heard from a previous interview with you, and I
said that out loud.
There. Yeah. Yep.
I would like to say when during quarantine I was on some sort of like truth quest where I really thought like everything needed to be shared. And I'm still like figuring out a lot of the things that I said out loud during that time. Like I was just like, fuck it, we're all gonna die. Everyone needs to know that Lady Gaga was not invited to play, and now I'm like, oh fuck, I said that, huh? It doesn't really matter. It's just that like I would rather not have admitted that like things like that were happening. I would rather
100% agree with
we invited Lady Gaga and she wanted to do it. Like if I was smart, that's how I would tell the story. But I really try to not fake the funk. And
we'll edit to make it sound like that.
It's always Lady Gaga was like, please, can I come there? And we were like, sure, why not?
When you saw these acts, when you saw Wiz and when you saw Lady Gaga, and I mean, did you see like national stardom, or were you just like, this is going to be a regional, local thing, or what?
I don't think I cared enough to think about that.
For sure.
I liked Wiz. He had the one song. And it was a friend of mine was managing him. That was how we ended up with Wiz. Yeah, that was the one with the Alice DJ sample.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on all the relevant blogs at the time, and they just said, hey, can he come in and perform this one song? And I was like, yes, of course. And it was fun. He was really cool. He came in, had a drink, performed the song, took off. And then, he didn't even really become who he became till I feel like much, much later, because that would have been 2007.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, when did Wiz Khalifa blow up? Like 2010.
Black and Orange.
Yeah.
What was that?
Black and Yellow was like 2010, right? Yeah.
2010.
Don't make this about the Bears.
Yeah.
Orange.
Bees, black and orange. Sorry, Oregon State.
Yeah,
we made a remix of that. My bad.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
I like Wiz Khalifa, but no, I didn't see. Did I see him perform that song that night and think like, just this kid's got what it takes? Like, I don't remember thinking that. No. And I don't remember thinking that about Lady Gaga either. I never thought. I mean, she's I love Lady Gaga, and I don't even really know why. I don't really know many of her songs, and I certainly don't listen to it. But I think I feel her presence in the world,
for sure.
And I think she's a very interesting person. I think she's done a lot of good. And I think it's much cooler now in retrospect that she is who she is. At the time, I was kind of like, why do we have this bullshit in here?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, though.
She was in town opening for New Kids on the Block.
Oh, crazy.
And then it was like, yeah, she's also going to come and play here. I was like, cool. Why? I don't.
That seems like a totally different.
Yeah, I was like, this is not really what we're doing. And she
exactly.
came in and she was really I remember she was really, the only thing she said to me was she came in with her DJ with the White Shadow, and they were doing a sound check early, which also I think no one had ever really done. No one had ever come in and gotten the mics ready and stuff. It was always a little more punk rock. And they came in and tested everything out, and they had dancers and stuff. And I was like, this is a lot. And she turned to me and she said, I'm going to show this place what New York house music is all about, or something like that. And I was
finally.
It's like, what a fucking weird thing to say to me. I think she was just hype, and
she's like, hey, you there.
Yeah. Well, I was just the only person kind of standing in the booth. Well, I think I was also I was like, get done doing what you're doing, I'm gonna start playing. She wanted to let me know that she had intent to
I'm gonna give a good show.
Really spark
if
that
you love
fucker
Frankie
up.
Knuckles, wait till you hear Lady Gaga.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, because I remember thinking this isn't really house music, but I kind of got it because I think she meant Z100 kind of big,
right?
Kind of Pauly D stuff. I don't know.
Right. You're just back there giving real.
But again, I did not watch that performance and think this is it. But I think a lot of people did. There were a lot of radio guys there, and I started hearing her music on Power 106 the next week, and hearing the mix show DJs play it and stuff because it was up tempo. And I remember feeling because it had kind of a cosign from Cinespace, and I remember thinking that's how PR works, I guess. People just kind of see that someone was somewhere and it makes it cool, and that's just how. I never liked any of those songs, honestly.
Yeah,
no.
I don't like any first album Gaga.
Right.
So if you put that in a versus Gaga first album versus whatever,
what's left?
Yeah. I'll take the rest. I don't know.
You definitely had a different vision compared to AM and Aoki as far as booking this night, right? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. I think we were united in an idea, at least for the first year or so, about what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think Lady Gaga was later. I think that was probably 08 or something like that. But the party started in October 2006, and at the time, no one was playing any Ed Banger records or really Baltimore club, or people were not doing that kind of stuff in mainstream clubs. Diplo and A-Track were out there doing it on a higher level probably than anyone else. But no one was really doing it really in LA, at least on a weekly basis, with that kind of stuff in a place that was bigger than a small bar. Right. And then Steve had it going at Cinespace, but that was a little bit more indie rock focused. And then AM obviously wasn't playing any of that stuff in his sets, and honestly, neither was I. Really, I was just collecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea was basically for us all to have a place to play that kind of stuff and really push this music. I mean, that's why we did it on a Sunday night. It was like we basically used AM's celebrity and Steve's notoriety and my ability to show up on time, and just we're just gonna play cool stuff, and maybe they're gonna dance, maybe they're not, and maybe they're not gonna know what to do. And sometimes, there were a lot of nights that weren't that popping in the beginning. It took a little while, I think, to kind of figure it out. It was nice to have Cobra Snake there to take pictures, and people get excited. You get people do stuff when you bring out the camera.
Yeah.
You used to have to legitimately make a room happen yourself.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit more fun. Now I legitimately do that trick. If I'm DJing for a big room and it's not the energy level that I want it to be, I can literally take out my phone and go like this, and everyone screams.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a cheat, and I feel a little shitty when I do it.
Whatever works, man. Whatever we got to do.
Yeah,
sure.
For real.
Did you notice a big difference in the clientele between Sundays and every other night at LAX and the sound, or was it kind of continuous?
Oh yeah, no, it was a completely different thing. Pretty much every other night of the week it was bottle service, dress code, people buying tables, and that we had rules against it. Basically, the deal was, if you're there for the party, you get in. If you walk up and you say that you want to buy a table, you don't get in. And then we didn't have bottle service. We could send you a bottle if it was your birthday and we liked you and we wanted you to get drunk, but you couldn't come in and buy a table. Everything, all the areas were open to everybody. And then and then we would bring in reinforced sound. I mean, the sound at LAX was fine, but we would bring in subs and put them on the floor and stuff.
Yeah,
because we wanted it to be a little bit more ravey, and lights too. We would bring in lasers and shit.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I know from one of your interviews, you said when AM was closing out, it would go until 2:45, sometimes later, and the staff is kind of it's up to his discretion. Do you think that LA would benefit nightlife wise from a later curfew?
Yes. I mean, I think I would benefit from a later curfew.
Yeah.
I think having a hard close at 2 is not ideal musically, but also I think that's why warehouses and sort of illegal venues are doing so well right now. Because why no one wants to go out for just I mean, I guess you do want to go out for 2 or 3. Oh, yeah. I mean, the short answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Miami and New York, Berlin, all of these places are more fun than Los Angeles. And as far as nightlife goes,
yeah.
LA is, I think, better in most other regards of life quality, or just, I don't know. I like it here a lot. But yeah, I think it's changing now. I think West Hollywood is about to shift to 3 or 4 a.m. And that's going to be kind of the guinea pig, because they're their own city. They can kind of do whatever they want. And then I'm told that they're working on it for LA in the next few years.
Oh wow, okay.
That's a big change.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that happen in a city before where the hours are changed. So I think that'll be interesting. I feel like New York has gotten earlier.
Yeah.
They have.
I mean, when I lived, not legally, but I feel like clubs, when I lived there, no bar or club closed at 2 a.m. That just was not something that happened. If you were DJing somewhere, you were playing till 3 or 4 in the morning at a minimum. But then now when I go out there, people are 11 to 2, and then the lights come on. So whatever.
Has New York always? Do you guys know if New York is a 24-hour or is it 4 a.m.?
It's 4 a.m. bar cutoff, and then liquor stores close early, but you can always buy a beer anywhere at any time like from a bodega, except
like
for
beer
like
and wine is good.
Beer and wine is all good except for like Sunday from 6 to 10 a.m. because it's just like you got to clean up for church or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like,
Utah rules.
Yeah, but even so, like I don't know that like it's fucking bodegas, like they can do whatever they want.
Right.
But that would be like that was the only time where you would see people being like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, what do you mean I can't get a arguing because they don't."
Vegas has kind of done that. It's not a legal change, but I think after COVID, we just we'll call it culturally have just gotten earlier.
Yeah.
Like I think
is that where you are? Are you in Vegas?
Yeah, we're in Vegas.
Is everybody in Vegas?
No, I'm in Portland.
He's in Portland.
Portland, we're just like the worst. We're like
what in terms of
you can't buy alcohol in stores after 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And then everything shuts down at 1:45. Well, last call's 1:45. Everything shuts down at 2. Restaurants close at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, or 9.
No,
right?
There's no 9. There's no 24-hour restaurants.
We're 24-hour. Like the rules are allowed. You could drink whenever, but there's only like 2 after-hour spots, and clubs close at like 3 on average. It seems like, but it used to go till 4, sometimes 5. I knew clubs that went on the strip till like I've worked in some where they go to 5 or 6, but they just lately.
I mean, I think the way they see it, anytime someone's in a club, they're not in a casino, right?
True. Right.
Yeah.
And also, if they're just in the club not buying drinks, what's the point?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to talk about, obviously when you linked up with Stretch Armstrong, your New York years. Before we dive into that, though, is there a difference between a Mike B LA sound and a Mike B New York sound?
Ooh,
yes.
Yeah.
Massively. I mean, you're talking about like who I was when I was DJing in New York versus who I was in like the Banana Split days. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in New York, I was playing strictly hip hop. Or not even hip hop, but a hip hop set where you would play a little bit of dance music, like 20 minutes, like just hits, and then dance hall and classics and R&B, and then big hits, and then it's like a 6-hour set.
Yeah.
And then well, now I get to play just whatever I want for 1 hour at a time, wherever. This is
a luxury. Really,
it's cool, but I sort of missed the challenge. I don't know that those 6-hour nights really exist anymore. At least not for me.
For you, definitely such not. A long time, man.
I loved it because it felt like real work.
Yeah.
Like when I was in New York, I would play, between 3 and 5 nights a week, always from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And it was like you had to get ready, like you had to like really like shower and shit and piss and like you like you couldn't like you couldn't like casually walk in and be like, oh, I'll have a smoke later. Like you had to like do everything and then start your stuff, and then you kind of had to like strategically plan it, like 1:45 put on like a 6 or 7 minute record that everyone was still going to dance to and like run to piss and come back. But I liked it. Like I liked knowing exactly kind of what I was going to do and how the arc was going to work, and knowing what was going to work and when, and trying out new stuff. And then if I did something that didn't work, I liked knowing that I still had 3 hours to figure it out. Or if I had killed it nonstop for 5 hours, I didn't feel bad kind of fucking around for the last hour. Like there was a lot of benefits to doing that. And like, by the time I moved to LA and, social media existed and there was more like photographs and people were getting like recordings of sets and stuff like that. Like by then I already had so many hundreds of hours of DJing publicly that like I didn't have anything to kind of sort out anymore.
Yeah. Now, were you doing any long sets over in LA when you got there?
Yeah, LA was like 10 to 2.
Okay.
But but it was the same kind of as New York, where people wouldn't really show up till like 11:30. So like, and then by 1:30 you had to be kind of winding it down. So you really only had like 2 hours of prime time.
That's crazy. That when you put it like that, it is a really short
So I mean, like, you sit there and play kind of whatever for a while, or I mean, if you're lucky. I never love having an opener. I mean, well, I guess it depends what it is. If it's a night with 6 DJs, like, it just is what it is, and that's fine. I would always rather it be like 2 or 3.
Do you feel like you can't get your like thought out? Your creativity
sometimes
out
it's
all the way?
hard to get comfortable. I think especially on these kind of bigger stages. I'm not someone that ever has something prepared. So, I mean, I'll have some idea what I want to play, but it's not like I will do this set. Like, I've never done a set that was the same twice anywhere.
Like front to back.
Yeah, it's never happened. Like, I don't have a planned set. I have little tricks and little things that I can do and ways to get from one thing to another. You know, it's like sometimes it's hard to settle in and feel like you're really in charge of what's happening in the room, especially if 3 people have done sets before you, you know, and everyone's good. So like you know, it's like it's sometimes hard to like establish what your vibe, I guess. I don't know. I feel like talking about DJing is one of my least favorite things to do.
No, well, I mean, I feel like I'm very, very much like relating to everything that you're saying, because I have the same issues too sometimes, you know, and a lot of times my issue is like restarting the room sometimes in those specialty sets,
right?
Or resetting the room. What's your approach with that? Do you just go new song, or do you flow into what the other DJ was doing?
I always play out of the other DJ if I have time. Like, if people ask, you know, where do you want me to leave you off? I'm like, you know, I'm a DJ. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, right. Leave me where you leave me.
Yeah, if someone's at a BPM that I don't want to be playing at, I'll stop their song and start mine, you know? Like, yeah. Nobody's fucking listening. Nobody cares what you know what I mean? Like, as long as we play a good song, you know, like, I do get bummed out when someone, like, if you're gonna not play out of the song that I'm playing, let my song play. Till the end. When people just like get on there and then just loop it, like wherever it might be, like in the middle of a vocal or something, or just you know, before a hook comes in, or like, I'm always just like, who wins? Is it so important what you've come here to do? You know, I think especially as I become like older and more relevant or whatever, like, I'm always just like, you really feel that whatever you are about to do is like more important than what I was doing, dude? Like, come on.
That's actually very funny, because I'm always like,
I love to hear that, bro.
Are you really just like, you have to start at 8:01? You can't just let this song you can't get to the hook at least?
And that's, you know, I think that's a way that you can tell kind of who the real DJs are too. Because, for example, some people do it too much. Like I played before DJ Premier once. Well, more than once, but in this story, I played before Premier, and I could tell he liked what I was doing, and I was kind of like in an up-tempo area, and I was like, and I said to him, because I was like, I felt like he was gonna give like a performance, and I was like, yeah, like, I was like, I'll fade this out for you, and like, I'll intro you, and he was like, no, like, I feel what you're doing, I'm gonna play. He's like, I'm gonna like match kind of this energy. And I felt like it was actually a detriment, because people couldn't see. We were in a situation where you couldn't really see the booth, and it was going to be a big announcement that Premiere was coming on. It was like the opening of the Ace Hotel in downtown, like maybe 9-10 years ago. And I was playing like Daft Punk or something like towards the end, and then he came in and he played Vanity 6 Nasty Girl, which to like a DJ is like, yeah, like, I'm up here like playing that like 120 BPM with you, but like to a crowd that's like hearing Daft Punk and doesn't see what's going on in the DJ booth, and like kind of Nasty Girl comes on, like, it deflated the room a little bit. But he didn't want to be like intro, so I felt like, you know, like, because what you want is to be like, yo, like, thank you very much, and here's our surprise guest, DJ Premier, and then he's like, Big L, rest in peace, and then everyone goes nuts, you know?
Yeah.
But what happened was he was just like, he was all
He was
up
just
in
feeling
his,
it.
he was just on some DJ shit, like I'm gonna play some cool
Some
up-tempo
up-tempo
stuff.
shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, that was a situation where I was like, I wish you would just have not done that and turned my song off, and like we all just want to hear DJ Premier do DJ Premier stuff.
Right. That
Not
makes
necessarily play his own music, but we don't, you know what I mean? We don't come to.
Or even if he still played Nasty Girl and you did the announcements, like, oh, it's your DJ Premier. Doom, doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom, doom.
Yeah.
At least they probably get more love because we're like, oh shit, Premier's
then,
playing
like,
Nasty Girl.
A woman who like worked at the Ace kind of came, and you know, like the people that don't know how to use a microphone and you can't understand or hear what they say, like she was just like, yeah, Premier, you know, and, like, and people are like,
I need
what?
7 inches or more.
Like, who's coming on? I think I heard
Who's coming
I
on?
I don't even know how we got into that story. Oh, right, just
openers
DJ
and
stuff.
just talking
Yeah.
about long
From one DJ to the next.
Were
Yeah,
you stoked to go to digital when Serato launched, or were you like, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I still have back problems and calluses on my hands and all kind of weird complications from carrying records. Also, I live in a house of fucking records. Like, I hate it here.
Right.
And it's all just still here. And I think going to nightclubs without 4 boxes of records, being able to leave the club with people was nice. Being able to negotiate sex and fucking, you know, cool. When I'm done, we're gonna get up and leave.
Yeah.
Just reap
Not
the
like-
rewards.
Not like when I'm done, we're gonna put all this shit into a cab, take it to my house, walk it up the steps, drop it off. I'm gonna have to shower and shit, and then maybe in like 90 minutes we can make out, you know, like
If you're awake still.
No, everyone used to just leave, you know, and I would, and because also people knew they were gonna have to try to help, or like I was gonna be like, yo, help me with my shit.
Right.
No one wanted to do that shit. They figured that out so quick. I would
Gals
be like,
hauling
yo,
crates.
I'll get you guys all in. Like, just meet me at my house. They're like, no, buddy. Put us on the
You gotta do
list.
physical labor? No.
Yeah, like we're not carrying shit. And then the security guards got tired of it.
Yeah.
No one
They were
wanted
the
to
first
carry
ones
that
to ask for
shit.
help too in the beginning.
Yeah, and then as soon as I didn't have to bring my computer, I stopped doing that too.
Yeah.
Fair.
Just
Yeah.
a little bird told me you sold a substantial amount of records to Travis Scott. Is that
I
true?
did. It's true.
Can we talk about that?
Sure. What?
Yeah.
I think you mean that pretty much is the story.
Oh, that's it. Okay, word. Yeah. I
Uh,
thought it was something like fucking awesome. And yeah.
No, it is. It's really cool. I mean, I love Travis Scott. I think the reason that I kept as many records as I did was I wanted them to have, you know, some sort of meaning and some sort of life. You know, I don't know why I keep the stuff that I keep or like what I plan on doing with it. I probably play vinyl sets like 2 or 3 times a year, and I certainly don't need all this shit for that. But like, so it was cool when I got a call that was like, we want to buy this stuff. And I was like, I got you. And I put together, you know, some nice records for him. And I think we both, you know, did well on that deal. I think I got a fair price for it. I think he got some really good records. And, you know, he wanted to have a collection that he could say, like, this is belonged to so-and-so. And he wanted like one person's collection.
Okay.
He didn't just want like a bunch of, like, there wasn't like records. He wanted to say like, this is so-and-so's vinyl collection. I think he bought up some other stuff too. I know he bought a lot of records that year.
Gotcha. Because I was going to ask if he used any of those for samples for this album.
Maybe. I'll be honest, I don't really know exactly what was in there because it happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think they sort of wanted to make sure that I didn't kind of go through it. They asked me to send them pictures of the collection, and I was like, well, I'm not going to send you like a list of records, you know. I was like, so I just snapped a bunch of pictures, and they were like, we want those 2 shelves. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to be home. And then they were like, by the time I got home, the movers were waiting for me at the door. And I could tell that they had been instructed to like not really let me fuck around.
Oh,
So
wow.
like they were just kind of like, so it's these two, and they started like boxing stuff up, and I was like taking stuff and replacing it, like pulling little things.
You're like, hold on, guys, hold on.
Yeah, I was like, I just gotta take like I knew where certain things were, but then also it was a fair price.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough that it was like whatever needed to be replaced, I could replace. Every once in a while I start looking for a record and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's probably gone.
Do you remember what was in there?
I mean, it was something to the
it?
tune of like 3,000 records. So
Okay.
there was a lot of stuff in there. He certainly got all of my slip and slide record collection and all of my Blunt TVT records. I definitely remember just seeing like a bunch of green records and yellow, you know, all my Def Jam and Rockefeller records. It was a lot of rap stuff and a lot of, but there was stuff mixed in there. There's definitely things that I just like threw in there and I didn't necessarily, I mean, I don't really know.
Interesting.
It was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What I learned from that was that I certainly never needed any of it.
Right.
Hey,
right.
that's a great way to
like I'm never like fuck.
Yeah.
Like what am I gonna do?
It.
Like that's gone. I'm fucked. Like no. Like it's never the situation.
Oh man, you said a tear giving up.
But I love Travis Scott. So that was I think the most exciting part of it for me is if I'm ever in a room with Travis Scott and there's an awkward silence, I have something for us to talk about.
Absolutely.
100%.
I'll be like, hey man, you bought your records for me, and he'll be like, yeah, I don't know.
He's like, what records?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I certainly never had any interaction with him.
Just some guy.
This was middlemaned by Jesse Marco and like his management team.
Gotcha.
So shout out to Jesse Marco. I love Jesse Marco. That's my guy. And he was the one that reached out to me, and we go back. He's a good DJ, good friend, and he was a great middleman. And you know, everybody got paid that day.
There you go.
That's awesome.
That's sick, man.
That's sick.
Did I read you were on tour with AM with Crazy Town? Is that's
incorrect?
Incorrect. That didn't happen.
Yes.
Okay.
It did not happen. I never toured with Crazy Town or AM.
Okay.
I would have loved to. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Okay. I read something and I was like, damn. Okay.
Where'd you read that? I'm glad that that's written somewhere.
I like that's the narrative.
All there is out there about my life is true. So like, get like excited when I hear like something that's inaccurate. Like
the rare.
I feel like you're more famous if people are like telling lies about you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good.
No one ever lies about me.
Maybe I made that up. I don't really know now. It was unclear. 2006, you were doing the film production company, doing TV work, stuff like that. What were your goals as far as, did you want to be a director or?
I don't know what I wanted to be. I wanted to make money and be successful. I was in a pretty serious relationship at the time, and I really wanted to just know what my life was going to be. And I was just, it was like a reason to kind of come to LA too. Like, I was like, well, I might as well try to be in TV and movies. And I mean, I still do it. I produced a movie last year. I just went last night and went to see it at the something called the Catalina Film Festival. It was in Long Beach.
Oh, sick.
A movie called Not for Nothing that my friends wrote and produced. Or wrote and directed, I'm sorry. And I helped them produce it. But yeah, it was a career that was going okay, and I certainly ditched it at the first opopportunity that I had.
Yeah.
Because I never cared, I don't think. I think I liked it, and I think I was good at it, and I wasn't passionate about it. Considering the position that I was in and how well I was doing, I was certainly spending most of my time downloading music and trying to get DJ gigs.
Right.
Yeah.
There's attention elsewhere.
Which was mostly what was like infuriating, you know, the girl I was living with. Like, she was like, The fuck are you doing?
Said,
like,
get up and read this fucking script.
Yeah, well, she was like, why are you DJing at all? It doesn't make any sense. Because I was doing TV shows and working like 16-hour days, and then I would come home and be like, no time to eat, just gonna have this Red Bull and go to the club. And she's like, that's fucking weird.
You don't have to gig anymore. You're like, but it's fun.
Yeah, well, because then the way I saw it was like, well, now I don't even have to like trip on money. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, you're just gonna give me $100, fine. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, I just want to do it.
Now, are you on strike?
Like, am I on strike now?
Yeah,
I'm not in any guilds.
I had to ask. Okay.
Unfortunately. I mean, I feel like it's probably only a matter of time till there's some sort of DJ.
Yeah, they're saying today
guilds.
that they said today might be the day.
Oh, you mean for the strike to be over?
Yeah.
I was talking about the
writers.
impending DJ guild that's probably going to exist.
We got to organize first, dog. We can't stop hating on each other to even do that.
Come on, 3 drink tickets, not 2. 2 doesn't work anymore. Give us 3 drinks.
Someone's got to do something.
We're too busy trying to figure out how to mix out of in the club. We can't.
Hey, Mike, in the reenactment of your life, what actor is playing you?
I don't know. Probably someone good. I don't know, because that depends. Like, so like now, like if it happened now, that'd be kind of a boring movie.
Oh, we could do.
Well, cast. Let's do a.
It's like if it's in like 30 years, you know, whoever's like, you know, killing it in 30 years, someone I haven't even heard of yet.
Timothy
They'll be
Chalamet.
like Keanu Reeves Jr.
I like that. He ain't even born
in
yet.
the
That's
future.
me.
In my future, Keanu has children,
and they're just as incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And but still, he had them like out of wedlock, and I don't know.
Definitely.
John Wick the Third.
He did it on his terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
John Wick the Third. All of his children's names are John Wick.
Yeah. It is John.
Yeah.
And Neo.
Neo.
Did you see they're doing like a John Wick show with Mel Gibson?
Oh,
great.
Finally, so that we
finally
we've
been waiting.
Exactly.
A much older man.
Well,
in a series.
he's like it's about the Continental in the 70s.
Oh, okay. I mean, that sounds cool. I'm making fun of it, but I'm gonna watch it.
Coming out.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Not gonna watch it.
I'm not gonna watch it. That sounds.
It does put like a little. I feel like when you put Mel Gibson something, you're saying something.
You are definitely saying something.
It's like when you play Kanye in the club. It's like, yeah, no, we all agree that we all love this, but like you're okay with something.
Yeah, you're okay.
I feel like as a Jewish person, I'm allowed to watch as much Mel Gibson and play as much Kanye as I want. But when someone else plays Kanye in the club, I'm like,
what are you trying to say to me?
What are you saying?
I was like, have you played Kanye recently since everyone's like, all right, now we're really through with him this time. And then like a couple months go by. He didn't even do anything good this time.
We're playing old shit.
All of the other times that we forgave Kanye was because he did something dope that made us forget about the fuckery that he had just committed.
Yeah.
And like, because maybe there's 6 or 7 times in my life that I've heard like the people that I respect the most that are around me daily be like, no, so like I never, like on the low, I never fucked with him, and now it's like really done, like after this shit, like after the slavery shit, after the, you know, like there was always like some reason that people were like done with Kanye West, but then he would be like, and then a week later put out the hottest shit, and then you would forget.
Like,
and I feel like after that last meltdown was so epic and so crazy and so public, and like Instagram and Twitter and Elon Musk and Jonah Hill and fucking whatever the fuck was going on, and people were like, he's really done this time. But then now, like, and then I see it in the crowd too. Like, I do that shit. I play stronger in a lot of sets because it's one of my little ways that I get to shit. And there was like 2 months where I was like, I guess I'm not gonna do that. I got to figure out another way to get where I'm going. And then, but now I do it, and like it's almost like twice as exciting. Like everyone goes like, extra
little edgy
crazy
now.
Yeah.
when you play Kanye. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a
Now
little edgy.
It's a little edgy.
But when I see people do it, I'm like, I make a note of it. Especially in the beginning when people were doing it creative ways. Like all of a sudden that like big tech house remix of Mercy was like everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, what an interesting time for Blonde Diplo to really be going in on this fucking remix, you know? Like,
what an interesting time.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
What a fun time to decide to go, you know, neo-Nazi.
What a
on it.
sample.
So this doesn't
to
work
choose.
for R. Kelly though, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
man.
I think the thing is,
It should.
it's.
I love R. Kelly as an artist
Yeah.
so much more than I love Kanye West. And I think it's unfair that I'm even able to so freely and whimsically make light of Kanye West. Whereas just now when I said the sentence, I love R. Kelly, my wheels already started spinning about all the ways that this could be taken out of context. And fucking
We're not gonna have any of the shit that you said prior to this.
Yeah,
it's gonna start
that's
there.
just gonna be it. This week on the podcast, it's just me like, I love R. Kelly.
We had Mike Kelly, we had Mike B on the show
With the face.
It's just straight faced.
Everybody gets peed on.
It's just, I think that's where it's like hard line. Kanye has not been convicted of a crime.
The world drew a line on that. The world was like, "Hey, man,
We're just waiting for him to do
play
something
Step
Well,
illegal.
because what he did was so bad. Kanye lost his mind.
Yeah.
Michael did a lot of stuff. Like R. Kelly is alive and with us, and like he's in jail, but like they're still figuring out how to take his money away, and they're still like figuring out what he did wrong. But it is, I guess it's just so. I think for me the problem is it starts a conversation. I play less Michael Jackson than I used to too, and I'm not forgiving anything that he may or may not have done. I think most of us are of the same opinion. You know what I mean? Child molestation is wrong. We don't. There's not an argument that everyone's like, well, it's okay. No, like, but also like, I feel like there's not really an argument on whether or not that music is good. It's the best,
Right.
And like, and that's how I feel about R. Kelly. I think the conversation is a little. People, it happens when I play Michael. People look at me weird, and so I do it less. My thing is I never, ever want people to stop dancing so they can talk about anything. Like, I don't want anyone to stop, you know what I mean? Like, I just want everyone to have a good time. And there's no artist that I need to get behind, like, you know what I mean? Like, that it's like, I need to make this statement, and it's about how I feel about this artist, because it's not. Like, both of those guys, you know, fuck those guys, but like,
but obviously bad people. Like,
yeah, great music. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't have an opinion on any of it. But I did. I stopped playing R. Kelly's music publicly. I play him very much so in my own home. I hear him playing out of a lot of other people's homes when I walk down the street. I really feel like people are sitting at home like, hey, you want to hear a dirty thing? You know, like, it's like a bad thing to do. And I think
want to
people
play
like
happy
that.
people so bad in my
Step
set
in the name of love.
There's a lot of good songs.
Yeah, I mean, my friends and I had an annual holiday party called the Steppers Holiday. It was like an R&B, you know, it's an R. Kelly themed party that we did for years and years.
So many songs.
Aged so poorly. R. Kelly themed party.
Yeah, it's
God
and
damn
it's
you, R.
you know, it's
Kelly.
unfortunate. I mean, yeah. And now we're probably never going to have him play. We had
most likely not.
You ruined my
Wayne
Steppers
Williams.
holiday party.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be forgiven. I think
That
it's
is
a
an
wrap for him.
interesting.
Yeah,
it is interesting though, because he's like, absolutely, we all fucking know better than to play it. And when somebody does,
But meanwhile,
I
like, I go on Hulu, and they got this, you know, they're like, recommended for you, the 70s show, and there's a big picture of
Buddy.
Oh yeah.
They didn't take the 70s show off of syndication. You know what I mean? Like, they're still going to show that show. The Cosby Show is still very much on television.
Very much.
It's still very interesting that like R. Kelly is an absolute red zone no go, and when somebody does it, at least for me, I'm still like, yo, chill, like. but I still hear
No,
Michael.
I think you have to be in Chicago or at like a pretty black party and at like an elderly black party. Like you have to be, I think, my age or older. And I think
I was at a grown
because I've
folks
seen
party
it done.
You're right.
I've
yeah.
also seen like a young woman of color put on Ignition remix, and people be like, but no one made like a big stink. Like I saw it, like she played it, she dropped it, and I was jealous. And I was like, oh man, like, because I've heard other people be like, I play Step in the Name of Love, like fuck it, and people go crazy.
Okay,
but again, it's not my place, I think, to like.
But you're right. I don't want to have conversations on the dance floor while I'm playing.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to cry because I played a song that.
Yeah.
It's a different.
Yeah, I feel you.
But you're right.
I like to do Fiesta remix, just the beginning part of Jazz.
Oh, dude, I did that a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
I was playing at like a throwback hip hop party, and I just kept like hitting it was getting towards the end, and I just kept going like, after the show is the after party, then like looking at my friends like,
like you're gonna drop it.
Did you hear what I did? I played R. Kelly, like, and I thought it was so exciting. Like I could feel like the rush every time I did it.
Yeah.
I might throw that in my sampler. After the show, everybody's like, just kidding.
Yeah, because it's like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna go all the way with it?
I love
that. Is hilarious.
That's the last big rush for DJing. It's teasing the intro to Fiesta, and then I'm just joshing. I'm not gonna do
it. Because what's your it's not. I feel like I don't need that on my agenda to like sneak R. Kelly into anyone's life.
People would film it now, and then they'd be like, "Look what Mike B played last," and they're like, "Yeah, we saw Mike."
Now you're making a political statement. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't get. I mean, look what happened to Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. You can't co-sign anybody.
Ooh, no, you can't. Oh man.
God. I want to talk a little bit about, you have releases on Turbo, Tiga's label.
I have one.
And Green Velvet's label, Relief.
Yeah.
I would say two of the coolest fucking people in dance music for sure.
No doubt.
Small chips.
Yeah.
That's two of my idols for sure.
How did that come about? Was that a product of Banana Split, or you met them?
No, I was on a really, really good run of producing music between 2012 and like 2016. I was in this room that I'm in right now, like almost every day, almost all day. I was DJing a lot less than I am right now for a minute. And I was just in the studio like a lot, and I was just making music. And I got to a point where I felt like I really could trust my ears, and I knew what I was doing. And like, I made a record, and I was like, this is for Relief. And I hit up my friend Harvard Bass, who put out a lot of records on Relief. And I was like, yo, can you put me in touch with whoever's at Relief? And he put me in touch with the A&R. And I sent it in, and that was kind of how I knew I was doing the right thing producing, was because like, I feel like if you hear something and you're like, this is right for this label, and then you send it to the label and then they like it and they put it out in a week, then you're right.
Yeah.
Like I never really wanted to be like self-releasing and kind of like, not that it's not a good idea to self-release. In retrospect, it would have been cool to have made any money at all off of any of this, but I didn't. But it's also cool to have Green Velvet call you and be like, I love this record. I'm going to play it out. We're going to put it out next week. It's perfect for the label. And then it was a similar story with the Turbo thing. I never spoke to Tiga. I don't even know if he's ever heard the record. But I spoke to his brother, and I spoke to Francis DeStasio, who's the A&R. That was like a full album. I had made like an acid album that was like a 10-track album.
Sick.
And I was like, there's really no place that I could think that would even. Well, I was like, Turbo is the ideal place for this. They take risks, and they kind of tread in that kind of acid territory. And I was like, this is where this goes. And I hit them up on Twitter. And I sent in the album, and they picked 3 of the 10 songs and put it out as an EP with some cool remixes from some like new artists that they had on the label. And I still get like a €0 statement every quarter.
Little royalty check.
Yeah,
A little nice royalty check.
Just one of those ones that's
check.
like, it's got to be at least €40 for us to pay you, and this is 0.3 or something.
Hey, but thanks.
Yeah,
but cool.
It's
That's
fucking
so
cool. It looks cool in the bio, and I got the record.
100%.
So,
Absolutely. And you have a Scion release too, Tight at
do.
Night, which takes back to the Scion era with the best socks in the fucking game.
Everyone loves the socks. I have a pair of the socks. I think the best thing, the socks were interesting socks. They were fuzzy and they were sort of like just at the ankle. But that album, that was a compilation I did for them with a bunch of new LA artists. That was like 2011. I put that together. It's the first ever DJ Dodger Stadium record is on there, and they went on to produce Kanye and all kinds of people.
Shout out to Samo and Jerome.
Shout out to Samo and Jerome. I definitely just threw away 2 boxes of those because after 10 years you can't really justify having 30 copies of something. And then my friend Steve is like, he's like, dude, you didn't think to give me one? I was like, they've been sitting holding a door. They've been sitting there at the floor.
Like, how long have we been friends for?
10 years, and you never took one. They were there for the taking. You can't get mad at me now, bro.
Imagine if he's like, do I gotta buy this, or are you gonna no, that's $30, buddy.
I brought him as merch. I tried to do everything with those, believe me.
He's like, I brought it to your baby shower, bro.
Yeah, seriously.
Good for everyone.
I'd give you the box.
Would you say Acid is your first love as far as dance music goes?
No.
Where'd you start?
I feel like if Acid is your first love, you're an advanced raver.
You're sick.
For sure.
Yeah, the advanced listener.
Like if you just like going like, this is for me. I think it really like takes a minute to kind of chip away until you get to that.
Yeah.
Because it's got to all make sense to you. No, my first love in dance music was probably just like Crystal Waters and Robin S. and stuff like that. Because I didn't even know really what that was. I didn't think of it as house music. It was just like music that was on the radio. I didn't realize that it was like I was hearing a certain version of something that existed. I was 10 years old. I didn't understand what was happening in warehouses.
Oh, that's classic material. And that it still holds up today, which is fucking dope too. Like you can play Gypsy Woman right now and it would still get a roar. Shout out to Beyonce too. For
people can definitely stop remixing.
Yeah, we can stop.
Songs.
You just stop because they're just good. You can just play.
I'll play remixes of both of those songs, but there's too many.
There's so many.
There's
probably for those songs, there's probably one version of each. That's
original version.
The original version, maybe one remix.
Yeah,
and we're good.
Well, because we both of those are like remix versions, right? The ones we play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're good. You guys can stop. We have enough.
Hey, Mike, what new artists are you fucking with right now?
Good question. I don't know. I can't remember anyone's name because everyone's just like a file on a drive. So I know like where the songs are. As far as new artists, I'd have to like open. I just went and saw a band called Sextile the other day, but they're not new artists. I keep finding out about people and thinking I found out about something new, and then
they've been around for a minute.
Been around, and then I go to their Spotify and they have like 10 million plays.
The story of my life.
Yeah, so
you guys heard of this band, The Strokes?
I'm 44 years old. I'm not on the cutting edge of anything. I think people used to come to me to know like what was good and new. And looking at my Spotify right now, this is all old music. Like, the newest thing here is like the new Quavo album.
I haven't even listened to that yet.
Yeah, that's and like crazy. Lil Yachty, like none of this is new. Jen, what are you barking at it? Tomo! Quit that. Doing a podcast. What's up, dude?
podcast.
With that being said,
he's a good boy. But yeah, I mean, new art. Honestly, I got nothing, man, off the top of my head.
Honestly, that new Quavo album answered the question for me.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not a new artist.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, I love Migos so much. All of them. Rest in peace, Takeoff.
Yeah, for real.
That was a massive loss. I think he's really.
Hey, you hear Nicki's husband? Nicki's husband got arrested for for talking about Offset, for threatening Offset.
Who's Nicki's husband?
Nicki Minaj.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't know he got arrested. He was out here.
He said something along the lines of "I'll beat your ass," and then he
made a video.
Yeah, he was outside with a bunch of people. If I was Nicki Minaj, I'd be so embarrassed. Like, if you don't get the fuck inside.
Who is Nicki Minaj married to, though?
This guy named Keith Petty.
Keith Petty, just a dude, just a street dude from New York.
Just a street dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's out here beefing with Offset. Like making videos with a bunch of street dudes, like talking about like it's up when we see type shit. And I'm like, if I was Nicki Minaj, I'm like, if you don't get in the fucking house, like,
is he just trying to make noise? Like he's just trying to get some fame.
He's just trying to get some fame, I think. But I'm
not. See, there was a time where I would have been really on top of this information.
It's Twitter bullshit. It's just so funny.
Shit. If you ask me about anything that happened between 1998 and 2006, I'll tell you exactly who was involved and what happened. I have no idea. Like, I don't read shit. I don't watch shit. I don't listen to shit. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm really just trying to like really absorb the things that I love and that I already have. Like I've been collecting music, nonstop for almost 40 years, and like I've been DJing now. I mean, I haven't taken more than maybe like 10 days away from DJing since 1995. So like and in that time, you amass so much stuff. I have an iTunes library full of shit. I've got hard drives and hard drives of everyone else's hard drives. I've got a room full of vinyl, and it's like at a certain point, I think this really was a big thing for me during quarantine after I sold those records to Travis, was like, I think part of my job is to really understand the stuff that I already have. And I think that's why I haven't really been listening to new music, and I think I've also reached a point in life where like I'm not a taste maker DJ, you know what I mean? I don't have a radio show. No one's looking to me to like find out what's hot. And I think people come to me mostly for a certain kind of vibe or like to hear older stuff. So like, I've been mostly going back and trying to think of new ways to, like even if I play like a 2000s party or like a whatever, like I don't want to play like if you do a blog house party, like someone's going to play We Are Your Friends and Day and Night remix and whatever. But like I was one of the main kind of gatekeepers of that music. And I mean that in a good way, not in like the you're gatekeeping. Not the new like like when I was like a compliment back in the day to be a gatekeeper. That meant like you had, some sort of power. And then so I think I have, like how do you rock a crowd without playing any of the stuff that they know they're gonna hear? I think is a little bit more my lane. So it's more fun to kind of go back and
would you say that that's what keeps you going? That's what challenges you, keeps that challenge, keeps that burn going, is finding those old songs and figuring out a way to rock them again?
Maybe. Keeping the burn going is a strong term. I would say I'm really like looking for the burn.
Okay. Okay.
Like it's been a minute. Like I think maybe I'm like too comfortable. I'm pretty happy. I get to play a lot of fun places. I think that's why I like I'll go and I'll still fill in for people at open format gigs, like last minute. If I get a call, it'll be like, you want to go do like 4 hours for not a lot of money? And I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Let's see like if I can do it. I'll just let people shit on me and shove their phones in my face all night. And then like, just like kind of like I like to do that. And then when I do that, I'll go on like DJ City and download some shit. Like I have all the Ice Spice, I have all the Bad Bunny, I have all the that just for fun, like just because like it's like I never want to feel like I can't do it. Like I think probably in this, like in the way that like you know, like a basketball player would play golf or something. Like,
right.
Like you want to be as good at it as you can, but you know that it's not going to be your full-time profession.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, do you remember any quintessential songs from Banana Split that you know they broke in those nights, that you wouldn't hear that in the club moving forward and it still gets played, you know? Like, for example, you know, when I was talking to Kevin Scott, he's like, I don't think people were playing Don't Stop Believing in the club before AM.
Interesting. They were, but probably not in that way. In smaller clubs, like cooler stuff. Like I think he started playing it around the same time as like Mark Ronson and Stretch Armstrong, and like there were like people were starting to play 80s stuff. I can't speak as to who was the first one to do it. He was probably the first one to do it in LA. I can't speak fully to that. That's if Kevin. Wait, who said it? Kevin Scott or Kevin
Scott.
Wolf? Kevin Scott.
Yeah.
If Kevin Scott said it, I believe it. I would never contest something Kevin Scott said.
Outfield too, like songs like Your Love and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when it became cool to play 80s in the club was probably, you know, in the wake of the Spin Bad mix, and then the Z Trip mix was like maybe a year after that. And it just, you know, it was, the time was right. Like it was like 98, 99, 2000. That music was now like people who grew up as kids listening to that music were now in clubs. I think that's kind of how that cycle works. Why ABBA is hot in clubs right now, I don't know. But any songs that we broke at Banana Split? Is that the question?
Yeah. Like, will you say like Justice and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely no one was playing. I mean, people were playing it in Europe. I don't think so much in the US. But I wouldn't claim that we were first. You know, there were nights in New York, there were nights in Chicago. There was hipster stuff going on. I think we just were the LA incarnation of it. And even so, there was stuff happening in downtown and Silver Lake. I don't think we can take credit for really breaking those records, but I think once we started, it became a place where you could break those kind of records. I mean, definitely like Classics, I'll Get You was given to me as like a 2-minute demo version. And then I played that one week, and then that recording got posted online, and then everyone was writing me on MySpace asking me what that record was. And then by the next week, like people were like excited to hear it. And then I played it again. And then the week after that, AM said, yo, can you give me that? And like, I'm going to play it tonight. And I was like, all right. You know, well, because it was like, it was cool because like my friend's record was going to get played at prime time, but it was also like, and then, you know, and then the single came out, and then we had Classics come play. So like that was a situation where I got to see something like that really happen. And I particularly remember that one because that was, you know, as a DJ, you want to break records. And you hope that you get to do that. I haven't gotten to do that a lot. Maybe like once or twice I was the first person to play something. But that was the only time where not only do I know for sure that I was the first one to play it, but it's like documented in a recording and then documented as AM playing it a couple weeks later. And then the song is an actual hit that you can still play. And Classics went on to be very, very successful and, you know, play Coachella and all kinds of stuff. And so like, that's like, I saw that happen. I know that happened. So that's cool. Like if I still have the MP3, you can check the date. I have all the receipts.
Let's go.
I was the first person to play that record. You can look up that set. No one had it. It didn't exist. It was 2 minutes long. So that was, I'll take that credit.
That's fucking dope.
Other than, I mean, people would come there and play things for the first time. I mean, I wish I had written more of this stuff down because I feel like up until a couple years ago, I really had the answers to all these questions. And then now I'm a little bit more scatterbrained. Like that, I mean, there was some house remix of Welcome to the Jungle that everyone was playing for a while that AM definitely.
Maybe like Hot Pink DeLorean or something like that.
Sure. That's certainly the name of something that I saw. I don't really remember what did they have
any the cobwebs here.
Did they have anything good? Like what happens when I type in Hot Pink DeLorean? Let's see if I kept any of it. Hot Pink DeLorean. I remember that name. I think things that were too like postmodern in their name, I usually like kind of stayed away from. All right, I've got a Hot Pink DeLorean featuring Fantastodon, a song called Played Out from 2007. I got the Hot Pink DeLorean remix of The Glass. And then I have a breakdown remix of Hot Pink DeLorean. Who's Hot Pink DeLorean? I really don't. I don't know. I kept 3 of their songs, and they've been there since 2007. So
that's crazy.
They're probably okay.
If
it's someone that I know well, what's up? Shout out to you.
Shout out.
Last thing, you did that incredible remix of Heart of Glass with Oliver.
Yes.
Are we going to be seeing more from that project?
I hope so. That we put that out like exactly 10 years ago. We put that out in summer 2013. So we started a couple other things. U-Turn, who is Oliver, is like one of the busiest guys in music. I think he was voted producer of the year in Billboard last year. So, he's got a lot going on. He's got the splice packs. I hit him up every once in a while, but I think also probably at a certain point, me being like, yo, man, like we got to do something else. And he's like, yeah, like it almost becomes one of those, like, let's get lunch conversations where I think like really, unless like I have an idea that I'm like, yo, I'm coming through, like this is what we're doing, and then hopefully he'll have the time. But he's really one of the best producers I've ever been around. At the time, Oliver was him and Oliver Goldstein, and being in the studio with those guys was an incredible experience. Like it probably took us like a week to do that edit, because like we put way more work into that edit than I have ever put into like an original song that I've ever made. Like those guys are like real producers. Like we were playing instruments live and re-recording stuff and doing like they were doing things that I don't know how to do. Like they had the sickest studio. Yeah, they were like it was like I mostly like I had ideas and then I would say them out loud, and in the time that it took for me to like finish saying my idea, they were already like sending files around and breaking out synths and playing bass lines, and like those guys work fast and they work smart and they're like super duper talented musically.
That's incredible.
And I think I was like, I love them both very much, and we had the best time making that remix. And I love how much it still gets played. I think the idea when we were doing it was, if we're gonna make a remix of this song, we want to make like, if you're gonna play Heart of Glass, like this is the version that you play, because the original is a little bit thin. It doesn't have a lot of low end. It kind of dies. Like even if you play it at like a wedding, everyone loves it when it comes on, and then it kind of fizzles out. So it's like, let's make it. We made it on purpose to be played with Get Lucky. So here's a 10-year anniversary DJ hack. You don't have to adjust the BPMs or the pitch or anything. You can play one into the other and blend them seamlessly, and they lock perfectly, and they're in the same key. So you can and should do that. It's incredible what happens when you combine those two songs. And it was cool because like Boy George played it in a mix when it came out, which I felt was sort of a good cosign. Like if you're going to do an 80s remix, it's pretty cool if Boy George is DJing it. And as recently as a couple months ago, Paris Hilton put it on her Apple DJ mix. So,
oh shit.
I don't know what that means. As far
Another
as
cosign, my man.
I've never looked to Paris Hilton for to
Right.
you know, like
she's the most
well, I don't know. You tell me.
DJ
Is it hot? Is Paris playing it? I don't know. But I guess that's cool. You know, I see people love her. You know, and I'm glad they do. And so it's cool. I'm glad it's still alive. I like that when I go into a club, a DJ will usually play it. And like that's it's good. It's nice to have something that can be played at prime time and not like ruin the mood. You know, because that's always a bummer when you walk in and someone's like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm gonna play your shit. And I'm like, "Don't." It's just gonna make
don't do it, please.
Bummed out, and then also me. Like if you play the wrong one, you know. Like, and I used to do that for rappers. I remember like Cool Keith came into like I was, you know, it's like a kind of a commercial club, and I saw Cool Keith and I played Papa Large, and he kind of shook his head, and then I saw the dance. I was like, oh yeah, like that's like no one wants to see that. No one wants to, like it's a compliment, but you're also kind of like not. You're being like, look how much your song like doesn't kill it right now. You know?
Right.
This is you. This is you.
Yeah, you did this.
Yo, here's a little Dr. Octagon, Cool Keith. You're like,
yeah, that's what I want to do. I mean, that's my favorite. That's my Dr. Octagon is my favorite, and I am guilty of occasionally playing it in a nightclub. But the Heart of Glass remix, I'm lucky to have it. It's nice to have something that, and especially when I'm doing those open format sets that I talked about, like when I'm in there on the low sneaking one in, like it's cool that at some point during that I can play something of my own and know that it's going to kill and know that's going to work. And I can play it at weddings in the same way that I can play it at a warehouse. If I'm not, if there's not any new remixes in my set, then I have other little kind of secret versions and edits of it. It's nice to have something like that.
Yeah.
I wish I had a lot more stuff like that, but I'm not what you would call prolific. I was for a short while, but I found it hard to get busy in the studio and like functional as a DJ. Like it was kind of one or the other for me.
Right.
That makes sense.
Like I haven't been in the studio at all really in the last few years. I'm going to the studio tonight, which is cool. But I haven't really been doing much. I'm going to do something specific tonight with Felix the House Cat, which is fun.
Oh shit!
Hell yeah!
No, so we
love that.
We'll see what comes of that. Hopefully, this is not something I just talked about, and then whatever happened to that? Well, nothing. Which is the deal a lot of times.
We'll be checking back in.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna
hopefully by the next time I talk to you guys, I will just be living off that Felix the House Cat money.
Yeah, we're gonna be your accountability buddies. We're gonna hit you up, be like, so what's going on over there with that Felix track?
But I think that's the idea. It's nice to have something, you know. I feel like if someone doesn't know who I am and someone's explaining to me, they'd be like, yeah, you did the Heart of Glass thing. Like, all right,
cool. That was it. Yeah.
Well, I'm also the second one. It's like we all remember Yolanda Be Cool, but you know, where's D Cup?
Right.
And shout out to D Cup. That's not a dig.
Shout out.
Yeah. I just mean like people are like, you know, when you think of that song, you know, I'm lucky enough that people associate me with that song.
Definitely.
But they also mislabel it as Oliver Dollar a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you have a track with Oliver Dollar too.
I have a lot of tracks with Oliver Dollar.
Yeah.
And I introduced those guys to each other around that time too.
Oh man!
Because I put them in the same room, and I was like, "Yeah, you guys can like swap all of the compliments that you've collected because people thought you were the other
on behalf of each other."
Yeah.
Hey, how did Drake?
But even on Paris Hilton's mix, like she wrote it as like Oliver Dollar and the Mike B remix. Which, like, if you know Oliver Dollar, you know that he doesn't make anything that sounds like that.
Right.
But,
right.
I don't know that
a very confusing but different.
Yeah, because they kind of both dropped at the same time too.
Yeah.
And I'm really close with both of them. Oliver Dollar and I still actively put out a lot of music together.
That's fucking dope.
How did Drake pick up that Oliver Dollar?
I don't know. I've never met Drake, so I can't really speak to that. And I wasn't around I don't know who produced that
thing.
But they also, whoever did it did it in a way that they made sure to use more than Oliver used. Like they used a part of the Moody Man vocal
right
that is not used in Doing Your Thing.
Right.
So it was like, yeah, we took the same sample, but like we went back to the source and got it.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't get it from the song. We got
the
it from
vocals
the
are from, you know,
right.
from a Moody Man DJ set. So
yeah.
Whoever did that was also smart enough to know that like people were gonna say you took this from here and you took this from there, and a lot of people say that. They're like, yo, people ask Oliver that all the time, like, did you make any money off that? But it's like, no, you can't. Well, it's because it's an uncleared Moody Man sample anyway, so it's fair game. And definitely I don't know how they got. I mean, Doing Your Thing was a big record, and you got to remember that Drake is mostly Canadian, so like, you know, like, I mean, like dance music has been in the mainstream in Canada for always.
Yeah.
You know, they've had, you know, if you look at like old Much Music stuff and everything, like they were putting on house DJs on TV in like 1997. Like it's a different world out there. So it's like they're up on stuff. And that record was a big crossover record. Like I honestly don't know. I've maybe heard that Drake song one time. It's kind of like whatever, right? It's just like thrown in there in like an intro.
Yeah, it's thrown in the middle of the song. For everybody that's listening, I'm talking about Passion Fruit.
Yeah.
Right.
And in the middle of Passion Fruit, there's a breakdown. And
literally right in the fucking middle. If you're not paying attention, you could fuck up the vibe.
Yeah. Totally.
Right. Yeah, because it's like not even a part you really want to play or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I heard it once and I was like, that's cool. Because he didn't sample Doing Your Thing. They sampled the same vocal.
Right. But they still give Oliver Dollar credit for.
Oh, do they?
On
the song credits? I don't know.
So I'm sure they give him credit for inspiring.
You mean like
maybe I saw
That's crazy because that means they're paying him.
Yeah. Maybe
I saw that. Okay, hold on.
Like on Who Sampled, you mean?
Yeah.
Who sampled it? That could just be
Who sampled
wrong.
isn't paying us. And then also if it's like a mixtape, you don't get paid, right? Like,
right.
But like if Spotify song credits, that was Oliver. That's
Spotify
different.
Song credits, no Oliver Dollar.
No Oliver Dollar.
So yeah, that's
produced by Nana Rogues, written by A. Graham, Nana, and 40.
Yeah.
Shout out. So we're already putting The Heart of Glass on our Spotify playlist for the podcast.
I hope it's on Spotify.
Yeah, it's on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah, so that's going on the
I saw it on
playlist.
Apple Music. My bad.
Yeah, it's on Apple Music because of Paris.
All right, well maybe
that's crazy.
Maybe not. Well, since that won't be added on Spotify, you get to pick another song, and it doesn't have to be your song. It could be anything. For us to put on the podcast for our podcast playlist.
Oh, cool. And I'm deciding that now live in front of you.
Right, live.
All right, let's see. What's out there? Oh yeah, let's do I like this song Cuddy Home that I did. I put it out on Top Billin' in 2015 with DJ Techniques.
Hell yeah.
It's called
Cuddy.
What's it called again? It's called Cuddy Home. Cuttyhome.
Got it.
The original version. That's, I think, if you would ask me what do I think is my most slept on release, like that's one that I feel like no one played or listened to or even liked, but like every time I play it in one of my sets, it always kills.
Yeah.
And like I feel like it's really different than anything I ever made, and that it really represents the things I love. Like it's a little bit techie, but it's definitely Baltimore club in its heart. And I think so. I think it's like a cool, useful record that people are sleeping on and have slept on, and will continue to slumber.
Oh, I got it.
Got it. Oh yeah. Very last thing. Do you have a Daft Punk story of hanging out with Daft Punk at all?
I only hung out with. I mean, I've met them numerous times. We hung out with them once with DJ AM. I want to say the story's been told. I'll give like an abbreviated version for your listeners. It was November 8th, 2008. We remember that date because that's the day that Barack Obama won the presidency. And it was right after Hard Halloween 2008, which is where AM came out in the Daft Punk outfit. So he had the Daft Punk outfit mounted on a mannequin in like the entryway of his house. And So Me was in town, and him and Busy P were good. There's gonna be a lot of names dropped.
Yeah.
So be careful. They're everywhere. So I was at AM's house waiting for So Me and Busy P and Justice and whoever else was going to come by to show us the Justice documentary movie that So Me had made. We were going to watch it in AM's theater. So we're waiting there, and Busy P walks in and he says, I brought Daft Punk with me. And we were like, that's hilarious. And then they walked in the house, and then they looked at the mannequin and they kind of looked at us and looked at the mannequin. They were like, so like they instantly knew that they were dealing with like super fans, which was weird. And we started like texting each other like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Should we take a picture? And I was like, just chill. Like they're in your house. Like, let's
Cool.
just, you know, and they hung out and we watched the movie. And then right when the movie was done, Busy P came in and announced that while we had been watching the movie, that Barack Obama had been nominated or won the presidency, and came in with bottles of champagne, and then we all drank champagne and passed them around, like, because it was one of those things. I was like, are you gonna drink from like the same champagne bottle as me? Like, you're so famous, like, do you do that? And they were super cool. They just kind of rolled with us. They asked me for a restaurant recommendation for dinner, and then we all went out, had dinner, went to CineSpace where I was playing with DJ Falcon that night, and they just kind of hung out in the crowd. And everyone was running around asking who was Daft Punk, and it was really funny. I feel like they asked them a couple times, like if they knew where Daft Punk was. No one knew what they looked like. And they were being really cool. I think they declined to take pictures with a couple people, but they were kind of around. And then they came to after hours with us too. We went to like a Thai restaurant that was serving whiskey at 3 a.m, and we were like drinking whiskey out of coffee mugs. And I left, I think, before them. Damn. And they were around. I mean, we didn't have like a real meaningful, we didn't, become pen pals or anything like that. I think I'm too much of a fan to ever have a functional friendship with them.
No, that's wild thinking about you actually writing a actual note to Daft Punk and sending it in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like actually,
how you guys doing in retirement?
If I had done that, I feel like they would have been like, we fuck with this guy.
Yeah. You write them a very,
15 years ago.
And not a letter to each, but to both of them.
Yeah, to both of them.
Yeah.
Dear Tomas and Guy Manuel.
I really enjoyed our time together in Los Angeles. I hope you enjoyed the sushi. And thank you
with
for the
with
champagne.
love.
And,
Yeah.
Honestly, that would have been a classy move. I was too busy trying to figure out like what song to talk to them about or whatever. I never really did.
You guys like Shaka Khan?
You need to send them to listen to a live 1997 shirts from you.
That's an interesting story I'll have for you next time.
Yes, hell yes. Mike B, before we leave, anything you want to promote? Any releases, any shows, anything?
Yeah, there's you can get an Acid Jerks featuring Brillstein vinyl is out now on Refuge Australia. There's probably some other stuff. But yeah, nothing pressing. I mean, go to my Spotify, go to my SoundCloud. Everything's good there, and go back and enjoy years and years of stuff. Don't even worry about the new shit. The new shit will sort itself out. You got to go back and appreciate how good I used to be. I was much better then than I am now, and I was much more exciting and interesting. So it's like, you go and listen to my mixes from 2015, you'd be hard pressed to find anything that you can outdo. But yeah, right now I'm all right. I'm with it's pretty. It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, go to my SoundCloud and go to the old shit. It's fire. Listen to old do-over sets. Go to the Banana Split SoundCloud page and listen to old AM sets and like hear what we were doing, and like try to get some inspiration from that. Because like right now I'm just playing like house music. and it's fine. It's good. But it's mostly to dance to. It's not really to like talk about or anything.
I love how he looked around. I play house music.
Yeah, is that okay? Yeah. It's all.
Fine.
It's one
And
banger.
it's fine is the best part. I'm
Travis Scott has all my. Well, yeah, it's just made to have a steady tempo, keep your heart rate, get your cardio.
Yeah.
You know, it's
We're
not really
doing the
made.
thing.
It's not meant to be super remarkable.
We're not inventing the wheel over here.
Yeah. I just want it to be steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
It's exactly what it needs to be.
fucking great. The Mike B, ladies and
Dude,
gentlemen.
thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man.
What a
So
pleasure.
much
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you for having me. It was great talking to you guys. I'm glad we figured out the whole Bob Dylan Nas thing.
Yeah.
We've been fucking teetering on that for so long. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
You picked the right guy to sort it out.
Yeah, you helped us work that out.
We fucking knew we had the right guy for the job.
Oh my god.
Wonderful.
Go find
All right.
Mike. That's TheeMikeb on all socials, correct?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Close
All
enough.
right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week with another guest and a whole nother set of stories. Until then, peace.
Peace.